Hello, everyone, and welcome to Abnormal Investigations. I hope everybody's having a good night tonight. This is our members only live, so I'm unable to see how many is in the chat tonight. I don't know why it does that, but on the members only, it does not allow us to see who all's here, so I'll just have to look at the chat and see if we see any names. Got a few things I was going to let y'all know tonight. Hello, Clove, Nancy, Mandy, Lisa Ann, Jana, Lisa. Good to see y'all. Pink Pixie, good to see you. Hey, Chester, good to see you. And we got Belinda in here. Tim Wrestler's in here. Tim and his daughter Tina both become members today again. Tim's been a member, and then Tina became a member today. So congratulations, Tina. Welcome to the family. Tomorrow, if anyone is interested, we will be live on the Wide Open Adventures channel. We're going to do a live. We're looking for some pecans out in the wild. It'll be a live show. So if any of y'all are interested, that will be tomorrow. I think that is pretty much everything we got going on. Let me go ahead and bring Jesse and Randy on, guys, and let's go ahead and kick this off real quick. Let me see here. There we go.
Hello.
What's up?
How's everybody today?
Well, I've been busy.
I would have been saying hi in chat earlier, everybody. I wasn't ignoring you. Sorry, but I had a cat in my lap.
You need to get rid of that cat.
Yeah, she got out of my lap just as you put me on.
Just toss her outside and shut the window.
No.
They're little cannibals.
Cannibals would be referring to them eating other cats.
They will.
No,
They actually, you know what cats remind me of? If you watch the movie Gremlins, Gremlins,
Yeah, if you don't.
that's when they're being carried.
Yeah.
The movie Gremlins.
You mean they. If you don't feed them before midnight or after midnight, then they harass you all night?
Don't feed them around midnight because then they'll never be asleep. They'll be up all night playing.
Right?
I hear there's a new Gremlins movie, Gremlins 3, I think. I've
Really?
seen trailers for it. Yeah. I don't know. There's no release date yet, but that's going to be cool.
I'd like to go watch that. Yeah.
All right. So, man, I got so many emails today. A lot of people were upset over last night. Let me tell you, there was some angry people over last night. Let's just say I got a whole lot of people offering to be my security for free. There was a lot of people angry last night. Yeah. Not too happy about what went on last night. Then we had the little possum in the woods. I'm not sure the possum was doing so good, though. Tim, thank you for that. We appreciate that. God bless you. I don't think he was too well.
Possums can be weird. I came home one night and there was a possum crossing the top of my fence, and I it sat there for like another 3.5 hours. It didn't not move.
Yeah, I don't know about possums and people that like possums. I'm not sure. I think that's something that would have to be looked into. There's something wrong there.
Possum is pretty good as long as it's not roadkill.
Oh, and that was Tina that donated, guys. I'm so used to seeing the wrestler name thinking it's Tim. My bad, Tina. I'm sorry. I didn't. I should have known. I'm half blind, though. So whenever I look, I can hardly see. I'll let y'all know how that possum tastes tomorrow. Not really. I left him where he was at. Oh, so before we get into the story, I'm going to share. Um, I thought we'd talk a little bit about last night since I had so many emails over it. A lot of people were pretty upset, and because of the violence that's been incited against me, and it's making the boots on the ground even more scarier because they're getting people to act on their lies, and that is so annoying. It just
Annoying is being nice about it.
I think they done something maybe to the possum too. Tim had mentioned that earlier.
I wouldn't doubt
Maybe
it.
maybe they had done something to it, injured it, poisoned it, or something. But yeah, I mean, it was no doubt humans that had done that. I mean, Bigfoot didn't go down there and nail a bunch of trail markers to a tree, right? So, and it was how many different places they had done it at. They done it at all the places I go to. So we know because they're doing it at the places I go to. It is somebody local that knows the area and knows where I go. So it's going to be somebody that's local because there's nobody else would know where I'm at or where I go. So it would have to be somebody local. And to go out and just, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But, I was talking to my friend today and he said it's, evident that whoever's doing it is local. And he said they know you, they know where you're going. And if they didn't know, somebody that does know has shared that information to them. So that's kind of what we're facing right now. It's frustrating. Um, I happened to see him step out from behind the tree right before we left. My security team actually saw him before I did. They said that I had walked right past him. Um, I didn't see him when I walked right past him, but I did see him whenever he stepped out from behind the tree, which wasn't a real smart thing to do because he was not in a very safe place at that moment. Uh, I don't understand, you know, I truly don't understand the, I don't know, you would just have to be mental to do this, I guess. Maybe that's why I don't understand is because I don't think like they think. There's no rational thought process to it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why anybody would try it and even take a chance at screwing around like that down there. It's just, it goes to show how ignorant and childish and, I mean, do they have, yeah.
They wasn't able to catch him, Ellen, but they did. They ran whenever they went after him. They ran like the cowards they are.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a good thing they ran because they were. My team was not happy. Um, I don't know what boots on the ground is going to look like. We're not going to stop doing it. You know, we're actually going to have a meeting tomorrow, and we're going to discuss some options to make it, people safe, I guess is what you would call it, without running the investigative part of it. So, yeah, Ellen, I don't know. Hello, Palazzo Place. Good to see you too. I don't know. It worried a lot of people. A lot of people were upset. Um, just going to have to look at things differently. I'm going to have to carry different items with me. I may have to give up some items to carry different items, which affects us from investigating, because that means I'm not going to be able to carry a lot of my meters and extra lights and stuff like that, because I'm going to have to substitute it for other devices. What do you do?
Praise God and pass the ammunition.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what, whenever my team got a hold of me, they didn't give me an option last night. It came through as a text, and they told me, you need to leave. They said, we 100% see somebody. We saw somebody. And they said it was not a cryptid. It was not a cryptid. And that's when all the buzzing on my phone started coming through. They started calling my other phone. They were big capital letters. It's not a cryptid. It's not a cryptid. This is an ambush. This is an ambush. And they were telling me to get out, get out, get out, get out. And of course, I kind of like sat around for a minute. And then the last text message come through, and it says, we're going to crash the party. We're on our way. So it's up to you. You can leave now, or you can leave with us. So they were coming in hot. And yeah, they did. They came in hot. I will say that. They came in real hot.
Mm-hmm.
But they're even talking about asking some of their friends that they served with and work with to start helping out, because they said once you're out of the woods for a while, you get that itch where you want to go back. And he said, I know a lot of guys that would love to come down there and play.
Well, hey, and if they want to continue to F around, they can find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to the point. It's just to the point to where, I don't know. I mean, they should learn they're not going to stop us from doing what we're doing. I mean, we was on last night for, what was it, hour and 23, hour 24, something like that. And thanks to all you guys, we went over 10,000 views, and not even an hour and a half. He pulled over a 6-hour show last night and barely broke 2,000. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. I might go down there and pull those things out and sell them for $10 each. I don't know if anybody's interested in a.
Hell yeah! Auction them off to the highest bidder. Hell yeah!
That's what I thought about doing. Just we'll make money on them.
Pray over them and bless them first before you touch them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought about that. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
There you go. You already got sunshine. She wants to.
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah,
you can
can.
call them AFO souvenirs. SAFO.
Yeah, there we go. I did get a photograph from the show last night, where I seen the person. I don't know how well y'all can see it in this. I had to take it from the video. Can you all see that person right there in the center of that light beam? That's where I saw the person step out from behind that tree, was at that moment right there. They're wearing all black. AI Nanny Pam, absolutely. Nanny Pam needs prayers for her daughter. But can you see that person, Randy? Is that clear to you guys? I can see him moving because I was there.
I can see somebody like they're wearing a black outfit. You can see
Yeah.
a figure in black.
Yeah, they
On
was
my
dressed
larger,
in. Yeah, they were
you
dressed in
can.
all black.
And while I was
Yeah, because
watching it, it's like they might have had white shoes on too, something white on their shoes, or something reflective at one point. When you were walking through, I thought something caught my eye. It could have been the movement or something reflecting off of them. I'm not really for sure.
Sunshine says that she saw him move in the live also.
yeah, and I saw him move when you had shined your flashlight on him. I could that and focused in on him. That's when I saw him actually move.
Right. Hello, Starfire. So I don't know if he stepped out to try to scare me, or if he stepped out because I had already shined my light on him and he felt like his position was gave away.
Mm. Or just to distract you from somebody else. I mean, there were more people down there.
Yeah, that
And
was
they
the
probably
feeling.
person that they probably had multiple people at each location.
They
Mm-hmm.
absolutely did. Well, I can't say every location, but let's see, it would be the first one we was at, and then the second place I went to, the third place, and the fourth place. So 4 of the places I go to actually had people staged at it. So my God, how many people have they got together now that they have incited, right? How many people have they got, involved in on this, It's I don't know. But when you have that many people being that stupid, I mean, it, in my opinion, can lead to something very bad happening if 2 groups collide like that. I mean, tensions are high already. I've had my family's life threatened numerous times. Matter of fact, mine and my family's life has been threatened to be sent straight to hell on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
They said on Thanksgiving that we will be sent to hell. Is exactly what it says. So, I mean, I don't, I don't know. So, I wanted to show y'all something just to show you. Let me get into this right here. Um, when I first got there last night, I had a feeling that they was probably going to. This is kind of scary to think about, but I think last night. Let me throw this out of the way. What was happening? I think they were going to try to get me before I ever got inside of the woods, because whenever I stopped my vehicle and started getting my gear together, I opened the door to the car. And whenever I opened the door to the car, I can't see chat right now, so if I miss anything, you guys will have to let me know. I'm into my videos now on the side. Uh, I opened my door, and I always put a light on top of my vehicles just I'm used to doing that from working. You're always taught to. I'm not going to go into why because I'm not going to give away anything. But there's a reason that I put the light on top of the vehicle in the angle that it's at. It is a tactical reason, and I always do that. That's what I was taught, and it's always worked well for me. I went to do the same thing that night, getting ready to go out, with everybody. Everybody in chat was excited. We were ready to have our boots on the ground. And man, it was a nice night. It was like 67 degrees, a light wind. Everything was perfect. And I opened the door. I'm facing, this way. Y'all was watching, and I'll play it here in a second. But I'm facing this way. I opened the door to get out, and I had drove past the trail that I walked down. So the trail's at the rear of my vehicle. Okay. So I go to open the door. It's a no moon night. I mean, it's as dark as if Giles is standing in front of the sun. I mean, you can't see nothing. So I go to step out, and whenever I step out, one leg, I don't even get all the way out, one leg out, doors open. I hear somebody running up the road at my driver's side door from behind me. And you'll be able to see, check this out right here. You can tell it bothered me. And I immediately slammed my door. You'll hear me slam my door. I shut the door back.
It helps my hierarchy that we got out there. Do y'all hear that behind me? Sound like something's running up the road? Whew. Wow. Did y'all hear that?
You could also hear I locked the doors too because I was sure somebody was running up to the car.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them running to the car. That was a eerie feeling. But then I thought, well, maybe that's just me. Maybe it wasn't somebody. So I decided we would go ahead and continue on. As they say, Randy, carry on. And I stepped out of the vehicle, and I had little dragon in front of me. And I thought maybe, how you do, how you try to rationalize things sometimes, kind of like try to make sense of it. Like, there wasn't nobody there. Why would there be somebody there? I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's no cars there. People don't walk that far. So why would it have been somebody? It's dark out. Maybe you scared yourself. You start doing that.
Right.
And I went ahead, and soon as I started down the trail, I noticed that there was a tree across the trail. So I noticed that there was a tree laying across the trail. On the tree had white X's on the tree. And it then had sticks and stuff that was laid up on the tree. And then when my light hit out through the woods, there was numerous trail markers in the trees. I mean, it wasn't even like a few. I'm talking like somebody went down there and spent some money to put some trail markers all over these trees. Honestly, ambush did not run through my mind at that point. I was thinking more of pranksters, they were just being stupid.
What did I say to you when I called you too? Told you that it might not be a safe thing, and yeah, you even again rationalized it. No, they wouldn't still be down there.
Well, you just.
I felt that way too. Like, why would they be down? That would be stupid of them to be down there. Actually, be down
Right.
there themselves.
So I went in, and this is what I started seeing whenever I went in.
And I know Jesse will be documenting this for me.
And that wasn't even half of really what was in there. So I was like, my God, these people are really crazy, you know? And then, language alert right here. This is a language alert. I got a little bit excited, got a little bit of an adrenaline dump. Haven't had that in a long time. Let's just say that I thought somebody was going to try to hurt me at this point, and I was going to have to defend myself. And I did not want to do that. That's the last thing I want to do is run into somebody down there that's trying to hurt you, and you have to defend yourself. That's not what you want to do. That's not why we're there. We're not there to deal with people or idiots. We're there to document, to investigate, and not have to deal with people trying to hurt you because, in my opinion, they have been incited to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to have to do that. You never want to have to do that. But I thought last night when I seen him, I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to come at me, cause me to have to defend myself. You don't know. I mean, it's that moment of fight or flight. What's he going to do? Now that he's caught, now that he's in the light, is he going to come at me? Is he going to try to get away? What's he going to do? And luckily, it didn't end up bad. But you can hear that I got pretty. I was ready to, yeah. And
Very, very important. And they just kind of stood the hair up on my neck. They told me that I need to leave this location. Okay? And the reason that they're telling me to leave this location is because on our last little walk, as we came right up through here, we made this little bend right through there, and we came from down there. They said right down, there he is right there. Do y'all see him? Hey! Son of a bitch. There's somebody here, guys. We can't fucking stay here with somebody, ignorant son of a bitch. Yeah.
so, yeah, I thought at that point, wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I may not have never knew he was there and walked right down to him if my security team wouldn't have seen him. Because they told me, they're like, you need to check your 6 o'clock down that trail. We saw somebody. And that was why I stopped. And I was like, hey, when we done this loop right here, they said they saw somebody right here. And then whenever I lit it up, there he was. So I'm glad they saw it. I didn't see it. They caught it. And there's a red Ford pickup truck, 80s model flatbed, that was driving by my house 30 minutes prior to me leaving. I was actually told Jesse about it before I left the house. They drove by real slow. It was a Hispanic man. There was other men in the truck. They yelled at me, "We know where you effing live now." And he had his hand out the window beating on his door really loud. He had his headlights out, and he drove past the house. His truck was kind of loud. He turned around, he drove back by the house and started revving his truck up really, really loud, and was just like kind of like sitting in front of the house. I came inside, got my camera and stuff, was going to try to get a photograph, but he hurried up and took off when I went in the house. So a lot of things were happening you all didn't know about behind the scenes that had already happened, playing into the boots on the ground. There was already somebody. I could see 2 other heads in the truck. There was at least 3 people in that truck. So if you sit back and you try to figure things out, my team that came down last night. I did not go all the way down to the fourth location that I was going to go to. My team did. They beat me there. And they said when they went down there, there was people in the woods with spotlights, and they had put trail markers up all over. I'm not going to tell the area because I'm not going to get myself caught up by these people, but they had already set this other area up also. So that was 4 areas with people, and then somebody in a truck, 3 people. How many was down there? And where are these people coming from to want to go do that? You know? How many people are they inciting? What are they saying about me? Who are they talking to, you know? Because not only when we left the first place we went to, I went to another place that we investigate, right? And I wanted to check it out. And this is what happened there. They had it ready too.
They were here, guys. They were here. See the lights? So they set this area up too, guys. This is my other spot. Look here. They were waiting on me tonight, no doubt.
Henry wants to know if there could possibly be a GPS on your vehicle, and no, I doubt that there would be a GPS on his vehicle. But
No,
um,
there's not one on the vehicle.
I mean, people that
Have you,
live in the area know the area.
also, they have air tags too they can slap on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that whoever it was, they didn't have a device on the vehicle. What they done is they have pre-staged this, so they knew the area, knew where I was going, know the area that I'm investigating, because it took time to put all that stuff up, and especially to do it in that many different locations. So it was a premeditated event. What they done, they had already premeditated that they were going to do this. It was planned ahead of time.
Hmm.
So it is what it is. So
I wonder who else PRT is giving money to. He's
yeah,
already announced he's giving money to your ex, so who else is he paying off? Just
and
my
it's worrisome.
opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's worrisome because the threat that they're going to do me on Thanksgiving, send me to hell on Thanksgiving or whatever. Where was that made at? And it wasn't deleted, was it?
Mm-mm.
You know, I don't know. It's a sad deal. So moving on over to the other story. I've told y'all about the boy that was raised in this little town called Childers, Oklahoma, and my granny had told me the story about him so many times growing up, and it was just a story that we all grew up knowing. And it was like one of those, like, what happened to him? Granny, did he die, or did something eat him, or and you really never knew. It was speculation because we didn't know. None of us really knew. Granny, I don't think, knew. She just knew the story that was told. Well, one of these lives the other night, uh what could they do if you're filming live? Well, Therese, I think what they would do is, well, I don't want to give them any ideas. I just think that it could be a real bad thing.
Let's not,
It may.
hey Mike,
Uh-huh.
let's not let's not discuss fears tonight, okay?
Yeah, it's
Just keep that to yourself. My
Yeah,
opinion.
I don't want to give out any any security things that we may be planning or doing in the future because things are going to have to change. And I've just got some guys that love to play in the woods that are willing to make sure that everything's safe. Um,
Hey,
so
aren't these people also trained? Well, we won't discuss that. Never mind.
very, very well trained.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this story. It's been a little while back on another show. So I got an email from a guy, and he lives in Childers. And he said, I know what you're talking about. I know the little boy. And he said, Mike, that's a true story. I know the family. And I was like, oh, you got to talk to me. You know, we've got to talk. And I sent him an email. And he said, I'll tell you what I know. He said, I actually knew him and I grew up with him. Uh, so he told me he would write me an email, which he did. Uh, he said, this little boy, I'll just tell you what he said right here. I'll read it to y'all and then let you all make your theories along with mine. I think it's a very interesting. Yeah, psychic. I wish I knew who they were. I really do. That's what I wished I knew exactly who he was. So he said it began with a young boy, and his name was Thomas. He said, I'm not going to share his last name out of respect for the family. Um, the boy, he said, had some issues, the kind that folks in those days just called mental. He had a quietness mixed with a sudden, startling wildness that made him different from the other children. He wasn't mean. He said he was just kind of disconnected. A satellite searching for a signal, he said, that we just couldn't provide. He said he would just sit and do his own thing. Most of the time, he would just sit and stare into the woods for hours. If he was outside or in the house, he had an infatuation with staring at the woods into the river bottoms. And he said his mom would even ask him sometimes, are you looking at the trees? And he would never answer. He would just stare. And sometimes they said he would make grunts toward the woods. Does it mean anything? He said. We really don't know. But we do know that he was really, really fascinated with the woods. So I wondered, had he already seen something in the woods? You know, he didn't know what it was. Uh, his mother, uh, Eleanor, was a quiet woman, he said, with a kind, wary eyes. She worked hard. She kept the house clean, like back in the old days, he said, like they did in their homes. The father worked out of the house. And she would worry herself half sick over Thomas. He did not like school, and he was homeschooled most of the time because he didn't get along with the other children at school, and the other children made fun of him. He did not like to be indoors at all. He felt cramped by the walls, and he was silent most of the time, except for when he would get excited about the woods. He loved the woods. His escape was the thick woods that bordered their property that ran down, and you'll never guess this, to the Verdigris River.
Hmm.
His escape was the thick woods where he would spend most of his time, and that became his world. He would play there all the time. And Ella, she went by Ella, would watch him, he said, out the kitchen window while she was washing her hands, doing dishes, or cooking dinner. So he would play down in the woods just behind their house, he said. At first, they said he would be gone for an hour or two, then an entire afternoon. Soon, he was staying out until dusk, and then later and later. Ella would call his name, And I could hear her sometimes at our house as she would yell for Thomas to come home to eat. You could hear her voice echo down the river. Thomas, time to come and eat. And he said it was just, she had a large, loud voice. But the boy sometimes would be later and later and later at coming home. One day, whenever Thomas returned home, there was something a little bit different about him. He was dirtier than normal. He was starving to death, and he stunk like dead roadkill. He had never been like that before. As the seasons started to change, he would leave longer and longer and longer. It went from staying out in the dark to actually he would be gone overnight sometimes, and then sometimes 2 nights in a row. Now you have to remember that these days are not like the days now. This was in the 50s. His mom and dad, I don't think, paid as much attention to him as they should have, and I sometimes think that him needing the extra care, that they were tired, and if he was outside, out of sight, out of mind. Not saying anything ill about the family, but back then there was not, he said, as many resources to reach out to understand these disabilities or how to deal with it. So a lot of dealing with it was allowing them to go outside and to just do their thing. The neighbors would try to help look for him at times whenever he wouldn't show up, and there would be a look for him, and they would usually end up finding him sitting in the woods, staring at the sky, he said, or just sitting on an old log, just staring off into the woods. But there was an old man named Mr. Kerr. Mr. Kerr was probably in his 90s. He was a tobacco chewer, and he would always spit tobacco and tell Ella, he would say, "Your son is not your son anymore. He belongs to them now." And that's all he would ever say. We always thought he meant the critters of the woods. But now I believe that Mr. Kerr knew more than any of us did at the time, because he would always say, he belongs to them now.
Hmm.
Then my grandma would always say, when we would talk about it at our house, because Thomas was the talk of a lot of homes, and grandma would always say, "I think he's met someone in those woods," my grandma would say. And she was, one day I remember standing in the kitchen stirring a pot of her famous stew. Her eyes were fixed on the woods also, and she would always say, "I think he's found a friend." So one day I asked grandma, I said, "Who do you think his friend is?" Because no one would ever say. They would always say him, them, that, they, but no one would ever put what they were talking about with the name. So I asked my grandma, "What do you mean he's found another friend? Is there somebody living in the friends or in the field? Is it a hobo?" We used to talk a lot about hobos back in those days, because hobos were the scary people that rode the trains that all the scary stories came from in our small town. And she looked at me one day while we was in the kitchen, and she said, "It's not a hobo. It's not somebody. He has made friends with the hairy man." And she looked me dead in the eyes and she said, "The stories are real. You know that, right? These are not folklore. The hairy man is real." And he said, Grandma always stood by that. So a lot of people, and I don't know this yet, and I don't want to, speak out of turn until I do know, but sometimes I wonder, was Thomas's family maybe a little slow? Did they not know what was going on, or did they know and did they not care that their son was hanging out with the hairy man? Because I was wondering, would a quote unquote normal person allow their child at 11, this is 11 years old, at 11 years old, to be staying in the woods alone, and especially overnight and for 2 nights at a time? That to me does not sound rational. It doesn't sound like a rational person making rational decisions. I mean, what do you all think? That was kind of how I started. I started asking questions about that.
I mean, again, like you said, Yeah, you said they were different times. Um, I can't imagine. It's hard to fathom nowadays letting your kid just, especially at 11 years old, just wander off and not show up for 2 days and not question it or change some things around.
And he's
Um,
coming back stinking really bad, and dirty, and so
but yet they would send out people looking for him.
yeah, they
So
would go find him.
that,
It wasn't uncommon to have to go find him.
yeah, they cared enough to go look for him. I don't know.
It would be, you'd have to be from that time period to understand
Yeah,
that situation, because we're not going to understand it because we're not from that time period.
right. I mean, it's no different than me telling my daughter now that yeah, we used to play out until the street lights came up and or turned on, and we would be playing in the middle of the road and didn't even have to worry about it because we lived on a quiet street and didn't have to worry about cars screaming down the road.
And when I was a kid, we didn't wear a watch. When it was dark, you
Yeah,
went home.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Street lights
yeah.
start coming on or the sun went down. Yeah. I mean, I would remember pedaling my bike as fast as I could because it's like, oh, the sun is down. My mom's going to whoop my butt.
And back then, I think a lot of people weren't as educated in some rural areas, and you know, they wouldn't know how to deal with maybe a child that was maybe autistic that would have outbreaks, or outbursts,
Hmm.
and maybe they felt like that was what calmed him, that's what he enjoyed, and maybe they thought that he needed that. You never know. Like what Randy said, you just don't know what they were going through, and they said it was a normal thing though. The neighbors around, they would always get together and go find him, like, up, it's time to go find Thomas. Thomas didn't come home. So, and they never worried that they wouldn't find him. And I would be scared to death living on that river, because I mean, that river is 70 foot deep and deeper in places. And, there's big bluffs. But I guess, I don't know. They were okay with that. So he wrote me and he said the mother would talk about Thomas a little bit, but she would kind of hide him from the public, like maybe a little embarrassed.
Mm.
When they would go to the store, she would always leave him in the car, or whenever you would go to their house, if there was like somebody showed up they didn't know, they would, usher him to the backyard or something and try to like keep him kind of, back away from everybody. Because there was a time that the preacher came to their house for Sunday dinner, and they don't know why. Thomas had never done this, but the preacher was sitting by Thomas, and he reached across Thomas's plate to grab another piece of chicken. And when he did, Thomas growled and bit the preacher on the arm. And whenever he done that, the preacher stood up and slapped Thomas and said that he needed an exorcism, which, you know, I don't know if, yeah. So, anyways, he said Thomas ended up telling his mother about the hairy man. He said Thomas did eventually start talking about the new friend, and he called him the hairy man. He said when he was about 11 years old, he'd come back one evening. Face was bright with emotion. Ella hadn't seen him that excited in years. And he spoke of a quiet friend, a big one, who moved. And I listen to this, you can tell this is old time language. I like this. I really get into this. He said, he described this large, hairy man. And y'all, I know y'all are going to probably have some things to say about this. Said he moved like smoke through the trees, and he made a humming noise. I thought that was really interesting, describing it as smoke and a humming noise. Grandma said that she always thought that it was a juvenile Sasquatch. That was what his grandma thought. And maybe Thomas was lonely and he had made a connection with something in the woods. Now, does that not sound weird to you, describing something like that moving through the woods as smoke and a humming noise?
It sounds like, yeah, I mean,
Sounds supernatural or paranormal or both.
hmm humming noise is interesting. There's been humming noises out by you when you've gone out.
Frequency, you
Those
think? Vibration?
Could be.
those noises that you're hearing in the air, those could be portals opening and ships flying in and out of them, or something going in and out of the portal. Some of those sounds that we're hearing, especially those, like it sounds like a metal door closing. That sounds that portals make. But the portals I've seen that those werewolf creatures step through, there's no sound. You don't hear anything like that. Or I didn't hear anything. I was like 3 feet away from it. There was absolutely no sound.
I
So
wonder if it's maybe because he was autistic and they said he grunted a lot and stuff, if maybe this thing was communicating with him on like a different sound wave.
That's what I was wondering too when, in the beginning, when you were talking about, yeah, that he would sit there and stare and grunt every once in a while. Like, maybe he was able to hear the different frequencies, and that's why he didn't really communicate the same.
perhaps, perhaps that humming, he was communicating with them at a distance because we don't know exactly what kind of sounds that they can make. Maybe they could make sounds that he could hear. Perhaps some of those humming noises that kid's making is communicating to those creatures. Maybe they had some kind of communication or language going between them. Those are autistic children are highly intelligent. I mean,
Mm,
very intelligent.
Right. Well, she said this is where it really gets strange, guys. It really starts getting weird right here. He said that his mom then started acting like she was distancing herself from Thomas, not really baby him, like as much as she used to. And Thomas started staying out a week at a time or longer. And whenever he would show up, his clothes were ragged, ripped to shreds a lot of times. His hair was matted and filthy and dirty. His eyes were a more like curious eyes. They were huge, big, wide open eyes. He said it's like somebody that was excited or scared all the time. His eyes just stayed like that. He said they were like almost abnormally large. And he would stay like that, like all the time. And he said he acted like a deer that was being hunted. He would sniff the air. Got animalistic. And one day when they was in the backyard, Ella tried to catch a chicken to cook for dinner, and she told Thomas, "Get me a chicken," because Thomas would always catch the chicken for her, and then they would take it to the chopping block and chop, the chicken and prepare the chicken. We used to do that too. But the thing is, Thomas one day when she told him to catch the chicken, took off running. And he said, I was visiting that day when this happened. He said, because I remember my mom and dad, because he was raised with Thomas, freaking out. He said, my mom actually vomited because when they told Thomas, go catch a chicken, he done what he normally done, except for he used his front hands to kind of run with at times, caught the chicken, he said, and stuck that thing's head in its mouth alive and chewed its damn head off, and then threw the chicken up to his mom with blood all over his face. And he said the chicken flopping and running around the yard. And he said, I remember my mom getting really sick and screaming, and my dad happened to call my mom, and we had to leave. And he said Thomas was just standing there grunting with every breath, like a, "Ugh, ugh, ugh." And he said he had blood all over him. And he said that was traumatizing. And he said it still bothers me to this day. He said it was so unnatural at what he'd done.
Mm. A little Ozzy in the making.
Well, I'm wondering if he wasn't exhibiting those behaviors because whatever he was hanging out with in the woods was teaching him how to hunt,
Mm-hmm.
how they hunt.
Well, and uh, why can't I think of his name? When you said how big his eyes were and that the way that the expression on his face, the eyes, it reminded me of the photo of, why can't I think of his name, of him sitting in the back of the ambulance after they found him.
Oh yeah, the little red-headed kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that's when you said that, that was the image that I got, cuz that was kind of how he looked. His big the big scared eyes, that's what I was picturing. And
And he said he didn't just bite the head of the chicken off. He said he had the chicken's head and everything in his mouth and was like chewing on it until he finally got it like chewed off. So I'm sure that was a little traumatizing to somebody that had never seen something like that.
We could go down a rabbit hole. Could these things, could demonic beings hang around these creatures that this kid was around? And could these demonic beings have influenced that child in any way, manner, or fashion?
Oh yeah, I believe so. Yeah, definitely. I believe that they hang around them. I believe that they're family.
Did he bite the priest because the priest was a real man of God and the priest sensed that the kid was full of demons and that's why he mentioned an exorcism?
well, my first thought went to, if he was living or out and um, imitating a lot of what these other creatures are doing and seeing. If you think about even other wild animals too, um, if somebody is reaching across your food in the wild like that, your first reaction is, are they going to grab my food? So I could almost see him reacting like, don't touch my food, don't touch my plate. Maybe it was something that he had seen already being out there. Um, but I also
Y'all,
know that,
there's somebody sitting in front of my house right now with their music really, really loud, vibrating our windows with a bass. Just so you know, can y'all hear
You
it?
got to go light them up. You got a bright spotlight you can light them up with? The darkness does not like being in the light, especially at night.
I don't hear it.
Yeah, they left. You can hear them. They are flying down the road. I can hear them. They're like pedal to the metal. But anyway, see what we go through. Um. So yeah, I mean, and then you have to also wonder what kind of conversations did they have with the preacher that we don't know about. You know.
Um, well, but the other thing I was going to say is, and I don't want anybody to come at me about it, but I know, like, growing up, my dad, he would talk about how, he grew up in a Catholic church or Catholic school, and he would get smacked with the ruler all the time because he wasn't exactly a good kid in school. But that's what they taught, spare the child. So, and a lot of the things when it came to, I mean, even older generations coming over from Europe, and a lot of the times too, the religious aspect of it was children misbehaved because they were possessed, especially because they didn't understand mental illnesses. It went directly to a possession thing as a child.
Right.
So
Well, it sounds like Ella kind of gave up on him because he says Ella then started telling everybody, all the neighbors and everybody around town, I can't control Thomas anymore. I can't make him stay in my house. He's not happy here. He's not comfortable here. He's free to go and do as he wants, pretty much. And he said he was out in the yard and he would like take sticks and stuff and he was like weaving the trees in and out of each other and making like designs out of the trees. And he said he just really got weird. And he said, and it was like Ella didn't really care. It was kind of like Thomas is happy. And he said what was weird is she would always say, I can't make him stay in the confines of a sterile house. That's not where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be here. And he said, we thought that was, really strange. Our family was like, wow, she needs to, pay more attention to him, stuff like that. But Ella was kind of going the opposite direction. She was paying less attention to him. She was like, eh, he's happy out there and he likes to run around and, why not, right? So the arrangement, he said, that she ended up making with her own son was that whenever she would make dinner at night, she would prepare 2 dinner plates. Now, I have a question about this that I don't know yet, and I've sent him an email. She would prepare 2 dinner plates, and she would set them on the back porch. Remember, my granny had told me that same story for him to come to have something to eat. But she would put 2 dinner plates back. So I'm guessing she was putting 2 back there for him and whatever he was with. But then it makes you wonder, did the other ones get mad or was there not other ones? Was it just him and this one hairy man? A lot of questions there. But he said we knew that one plate was for Thomas and the other was for whatever was with Thomas. And Thomas would come every night and the plates would be emptied and then placed back on the porch. It's like he knew to come home to grab something to eat, and then he would go back to the woods. He said, I knew because my grandma would always tell me, at least she's feeding her son. A good mother always makes sure that everybody in the house has a full belly. And I do know that back then that was important because I have heard a lot of the older people talk about, that a full belly was an important thing. You would go to somebody's house and they would always have something on the stove. My grandma always had something on the stove cooking. Didn't matter. Noodles, green beans, potatoes. And she would always tell when people would come over, they'd always say, get you a plate of that, get you a plate of that. And, they'd always say, oh God, I'm so full. And grandma would be like, no, you have a little bit. You always had to have a little bit. It didn't matter how full you was. But they said the creature was a mystery and they started hearing weird howls from down in the river bottoms. But then he said, I asked my grandma, what does the thing look like that Thomas is with? And he said, Grandma looked me in the eyes, and he said, I'd never seen Grandma look like that before. And she said, you don't want to know. And he said, I told her, Grandma, I do want to know. Please tell me. And she's like, okay. He said, Grandma explained to me that what Thomas was with was something that, now this I think is really cool, a lot of people in the area had seen. So this was not a creature that just happened to Thomas. Everybody in this area was familiar with it because a lot of people in the area had seen it. And she said they described it as part ape, part wolf, and part man. I thought that was interesting. And they said that Thomas had bonded with this monster of whatever it was, and that it had accepted him, and Thomas had accepted it. Now, this went on for several years, and the local community just assumed Thomas had just simply run away because Thomas stopped coming home to get his dinner plate one night and never returned. He stopped coming back to get the dinner plate. He said, we always wondered, did Thomas die? Did they go further away? What happened to Thomas? Did whatever he was with finally decide to eat him, or what happened, right? So he said we wondered and worried about that for years. And then as time went on, he said, as I grew, and remember, this guy I'm talking to now is 72 years old. He said, I knew that Thomas wasn't dead because I have seen him several times now along the Verdigris River. He has super long hair. He is a very hairy man now. He acts like an animal. He has stole people's fish from their trot lines at night and from their fishing lines. He has stolen food off of picnic tables and stuff in the area. And he said, I can tell you where to go if you would like to try to catch him on video. He said, I'm not going to tell you if you're going to hurt him. He doesn't want him hurt. But he said, I'm not going to tell you that he won't hurt you, because he said, I think he would if you cornered him. He said he's very wild and he's very much alive today. And he said he's seen him about 3 weeks ago in this area that he has now given me the location to. So
That's amazing.
that's what I know. That's what was shared with me. And I do
Hey,
have
Mike,
the location.
if you want to do a different boots on the ground, here you go, man.
That is, yeah.
They have seen him drinking from the river.
I don't know if you want to chase down this feral person. He might actually eat you if he's hungry. You
Yeah, and he
encounter him.
has to, he has to be a little bit different, because I know I couldn't drink from these rivers and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
If he's able to do that, then he's adapted, or I don't know. Lucky, I don't know.
Or maybe there's more to him than what we know.
Yeah.
Is this
Wow.
makes you wonder?
Belinda, they said he stopped coming back and getting his plate, that he got to where he didn't even care to come back and get a plate. That he just one day just never returned that night and then never came back. So, I think so too, Jenna. I think he went totally feral and got where he didn't,
Hey, Mike, Starfire's asking a question. How old would he be? Do we know today? How old would this person be?
Well, I know that the gentleman that wrote me the letter is 72. And he said that he was a kid at the time. I don't know the age of him, but he grew up around Thomas. So I would say 50s, you think?
Wow.
Maybe?
Wow. A normal human wouldn't survive drinking the toxic water and eating uncooked food. The parasites would kill you over time.
So I wonder how he would survive this long. Is it because he is stealing people's fish and their food and stuff out of picnic areas, or
You'd
is
have to
he?
take DNA. You'd need to do lab work on them.
Well,
Yeah,
Blood work,
well,
DNA testing, a full medical workup to find out if there's an anomaly in this guy that makes him able to adapt to these kinds of pollutants in his body and thrive on it. That's going to be the only way you'd be able to tell anything. Because anything other than that, you're speculation. But the guy survived for 50 plus years out there in the wild, eating raw food and meat and fish. That would kill. Have you seen some of the parasites in the fish these days?
right.
Have any of y'all caught fish and they've been loaded with parasites? And it seems the last time I went fishing, you couldn't. I mean, we didn't keep the fish because they were all loaded with parasites. I'm not going to eat
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Lisa too. He had to have been a little bit older than that. Yeah. I mean, at least around the same age as the guy that wrote in the story, right? Wouldn't you think, Mike?
Unless the guy that wrote the story, was a like a 16 or 18 year old, and Thomas was this little 11-year-old running around.
That's true.
I don't know,
For
because
a
he
long
always,
time, be
yeah, because he,
living wild
and they
with
talked
no
about
medicine.
how wild he was. He was wild. I mean, he chewed a chicken's head off. You know, I mean, I'm
That doesn't
surprised.
sound wild to me, Mike.
Yeah,
That just doesn't sound normal to me. Now, my great grandmother, she had this cool way to dispatch a chicken when it was dinner time. One would be walking by and she would grab it by the head and she'd twirl it and knock, and just flick the head off just like that. She didn't need
right.
a knife.
That's what Grandpa would do too. Just wring their neck,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and then we would chase it and try to catch it. That was part of the game, but we never chewed the head off of one.
You ought to try
And
that on your next wide open adventure. Have
Yeah.
a chicken neck chewing contest, Mike.
I'd have Cleghorn after me then.
And I'm
But yeah, I
only
mean,
kidding. And
I,
this is for entertainment only, guys.
but that brings a whole different scenario too, because he would be apt to make weapons and tools and stuff having that human mind. I mean, he might be running around down there with a homemade knife or a spear or God knows what.
Who wants to go down there and find out?
Yeah,
Or maybe he doesn't even need to worry about it because of who he's made friends with.
yeah, maybe he's still running with the Bigfoot crew.
Well, yeah. Has anybody seen him, and is he alone on the? Or has he been observed by others, and has he always been observed alone? I wonder, or does he
Well,
still hang out with these creatures?
he said always alone when people see him, and he's usually drinking from the river or he's digging in trash cans.
Hmm.
And sometimes he's not even clothed. And if he is clothed, it's clothes that he has stolen from campers or people that's left. One guy that saw him, and I thought this was kind of weird, just conversating with this guy. The dude was actually wearing a white summer dress, like a white sundress, walking the bank of the river.
So, what would you classify this person as? As a feral person?
I
I mean, that's not the definition of feral or
don't
close.
know, but I mean, it's not something you want to unzip your tent to, is seeing this big, burly, long haired dude wearing a dress smiling at you.
I know
You
there's got to
know,
be appearance. I just wouldn't do it. Maybe he can stay in a hotel room, at night and lock the door.
got his hair up in pigtails. I mean, I don't know. Uh,
Can you wake up and some feral person's chewing on you? That
oh
would
yeah, I
suck.
mean, and then you got to think about when you're down there camping. If he's wearing a dress, that tells me that he doesn't care what society thinks. He has
Well,
stolen something that fits him, that offers him coverage and maybe warmth and comfort. And he's just, because there's another report. Let me see what I wrote down. He
I,
said
I,
he was seen one time wearing a red plaid long sleeve shirt, button up, with a woman's sun hat, and then nothing from the shirt down.
I was gonna say at least at one point he was wearing a dress and covered. I mean, he's been out there seen completely in his birthday suit. I mean,
Right. But
He
sometimes
doesn't
he
have
is.
evidently.
hmm?
He doesn't have any shame, evidently. He
Yeah.
doesn't really
Yeah.
care what other people think.
And for him to, I think he's a scavenger. He's grabbing whatever he can. Uh,
hmm
the funniest thing, and I wasn't going to say this because I know people's going to laugh. Maybe everybody needs a laugh tonight. Ever the last time he was seen by a lady that lives up there that has now passed away last year. He said, but she said she saw him looking in her kitchen window at her. She was making homemade noodles, and he was looking. He probably smelt the food. He was looking in the window, and she said he had a pair of white underwear on his head like a hat. So it's like he's grabbing whatever he can find. Maybe clotheslines, because up in this area, people still use clotheslines a lot. So maybe he's, grabbing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Puts
if
it
I
on
walked
wherever
outside
it
and saw a big hairy dude with
fits.
coca burgers and stuff all in his hair and stuff, wearing a dress and a sun hat, yeah,
Teresa, I don't think his mother is still alive to bring him food and clothes.
yeah, yeah. His mother died. Yeah, his mother and his mom and dad's both dead. I mean, and he's sitting there chewing on a chicken head.
With tidy whities on his head.
Yeah, I mean,
Imagine
that's gonna.
seeing that guy in a with the underwear on his head, you know?
Yeah,
Imagine that coming into your tent at night.
or he's got your tent flap unzipped, and you wake up and he's got just his head poked in, and he's got like, ponytails with these like little purple balls on them and hair clips and stuff.
Or he takes your tent and uses it for a sheet. You know, what are you going to do? Okay, man, just take it.
Or you hear your dog getting in a fight with something, and you think your dog's fighting a coon or something, and you open the door and it's actually fighting a guy.
Yeah.
What's worse is he's eating your dog, you know? That'd be a,
Oh,
Yeah.
what are you doing? That's my dog! He's
and
not you, dog!
and, but you wonder, is everything we find down in the woods, is it a cryptid, is it a Bigfoot, or is some of it wild people that are doing things, leaving things? Look, I mean, look at the furniture stuff I found down there, right? A Sasquatch
mhm.
isn't going to do that. It's not going to dig a hole and have a place to poop and a place to lay and to build a wall and to camouflage it and have a fire pit because this was using fire, whatever it was. This is human.
Yeah, I don't think the whoever was doing the pit and stuff down there that you came across was necessarily feral either, though. I think there was more to that than feral
It's
people.
weird. I don't know. It is freaky, freaky, freaky,
Mm.
freaky. I don't know. But that's the story, guys. We are going to go to that location, though. I'm going to do a live and take y'all down there on the boots on the ground, and we'll see if we can catch him. He says I got a good chance of seeing him. I
I
asked
think
him if I was going to waste my time, and he's like, no. He said, I'm pretty sure that if you stick with it, you'll see him. He said it ain't like he's going to walk up and say hello, but he's like, I'm pretty sure you'll get an interaction. But he told me he can't promise me he won't hurt me.
bring him a Snickers.
Well, I
As
don't know
long
if
as he don't walk up to it and start trying to eat you on the live show, that would be even horrible. Ooh.
yeah.
I mean, being eaten alive, those zombie movies, I tell you what, that's just a horrible way to go. Especially,
Oh, yeah.
I love The Walking Dead. That's one of my favorite TV shows. But being eaten alive, especially by humans, that would be horrible. That'd be a horrible way to go.
And, I don't know if gifting him would be good because he may want to come home, and get some more food.
You don't want him following you home, Mike. You got enough problems as it
Yeah,
is. You don't
I
need this
mean,
guy hanging out in your house.
and if he is hanging out with the Bigfoot, then that would be bad too if you gift him, because then they might want something.
Yeah.
You know.
You feed
So
one, you might have to feed them all, and you might not have enough food. Then you might become dinner.
yeah, I think that would be bad gifting him, but he says I got a good chance of seeing him. So we may go down there and try to see if we could get an interaction with him, at least an interaction. That'd be pretty cool to know that he interacted with us.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, take a friend with you. Don't go alone on that one, please. I mean, my God, the guy already been a priest. I mean, you know, and who
Right,
knows if the priest was alone with him, what would have happened? We don't know.
right, yeah. But that's the story, guys, and I'll let y'all know when we decide to do that boots on the ground, and we will see if we can find him at this location. Uh, but tomorrow, guys, we got a live on Wide Open Adventures. If y'all want to come over, the thumbnail's already out. If you want to go in and hit notify, we're going to go down to the woods. We're going to get away from here, out of here, and go down to the woods and look at the trees and see if the pecans are coming on. How they're going to look this year. Maybe we can find enough pecans that Mom can make a pecan pie. I don't know. But we're going to get out and just kind of get out in nature tomorrow and see what we can find and walk the river and see what all's going on. That's pretty much all I got, Jess. If you want to say anything, and thank you, members, for being here and supporting us for sure.
No, just everybody take care. God bless. Stay warm. Supposed to be getting a cold snap. Are you gonna supposed to getting cold too by you? I know it's supposed to,
Um,
yeah.
I think in a few days, but tomorrow's going to be like in the 70s, almost 80, I think.
Ugh.
And then I think we got rain coming Thursday.
Yeah, it's been raining all day here. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
cold.
Thursday's supposed to get cold. Arctic blast hitting, so you be careful
Yeah.
up there. It might be really cold where you're at come Thursday night.
Yeah, I like the cold. I'm ready for winter.
Mm-mm.
I'm ready for the cold too. I had enough of the heat.
Me
Ladies
too.
and gentlemen,
Heat about killed me.
we couldn't have a show without you. Thank you, each and every one of you, for showing up and supporting the Abnormal Investigation Channel. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless your families, and have a beautiful night.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all's support. Thank you so much, Hunter. I love you. I miss you, buddy. I'm not never going to give up on you. Don't let anybody ever tell you that. I know you're in a bad spot, and that is my opinion, and will always be my opinion. Um, I have the right as a father, as somebody that cares, to voice my opinion, and I do not feel like he's in a good place, and I worry about him where he's at. I am worried about him. It's because of the people that are influencing him, and I know what they are, and that bothers me. But guys, I hope you all have a great night, and I hope to see you tomorrow on the live where we can hang out even more. Thank you for your support. We got a lot more member stuff coming, some boots on the ground member stuff, and like I said, we're going to go hunt Thomas down and see if we can find him. Thank you for watching, guys. God bless. Good night. And always remember, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner, because it might just be the neighbor kid in this one. Good
All right.
night.
Good night.